shower now.
When I think how much better I'm gonna be when this is over.
I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I...
Hello, I'm Natalie from Arise magazine. I'm here today to interview Ray, who is a singer-songwriter, praise and worship leader, and come and check us out and hear what she has to say today. So hi Ray.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank
Oh, thank you for agreeing to our interview. We really much appreciate it at Arise.
Thank you. I was excited, trust me. When I was asked to come, I was like, yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. So just tell us a bit about yourself. And
I'm Rachel, but people do call me Ray, so I'll just go with that. So I am a singer, and I'm a student as well, and I guess, I don't know, throughout the interview, I guess you'll just get to know about me by what I say and stuff, so I don't need to actually go into, so much.
when did you start leading praise and worship?
I would say I started leading praise and worship probably like 3 years ago. I've been singing for a very long time, so like from primary school and whatnot, and I've just kind of followed it through, but I'll say 3 years ago. And I think I started because I went on this competition called Time to Shine, and it's a gospel competition, and I think that kind of just put me out there. So after then, you know, you build connections, get to meet people, and then from there it's just like, okay, I'm called to come and minister in this place and that place. And then I also had another like pastor friend, I would say, that normally says I should come and minister with him, so I would normally do backups, and it's like from there people get to see like, okay, this girl, like, she's, you know, a powerful singer, and, you know, seems to love what she does, and yeah, from there I was just getting called, so I'll just say 3 years.
And so when did you realise that, you know, this is what God has called me to do, to sing?
That's a tricky question. The thing is with singing, I think I've always kind of known that this is my calling, but then I think it's just sometimes the words of like maybe my mother, and it's like she tells me like maybe what God has shown her and whatnot, and it just kind of confirms it to me that, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. And I think why I also know that it's my calling is that because when I'm singing, it's like, it's not for show, it's like, there's this feeling that comes with it, and it's just like, everything just seems right. Everything just seems like, yes, this is what I'm meant to do, and it's like, things happen, so it's just very easy. Like, I don't sing and it's like, maybe I'm struggling, it's just kind of effortless, and yeah, the more I pray about it, it's like, I think the more opportunities that come my way is a confirmation for me that this is what you're meant to do. Because I don't think people will call you if you're not good or they didn't see something in you. So
yeah. Well, at Rise we think that you're good.
Thank you.
So when you are leading praise and worship, what would you say are the main struggles when you're trying to be positive when you're ministering?
I would say, like, when I'm ministering, I think it's just important to understand that you're ministering to different people, so different people of different spiritual levels, different people from different backgrounds. So I think the struggle there is that sometimes you're trying to draw people into the presence of God as you're worshipping and as you're ministering, but it's like sometimes you're looking at people's faces and they're not actually there yet, and you're thinking like, God is here, like, come, he wants you to, like, just open your arms, he's there, and that kind of thing. So sometimes it can be quite a struggle, because you just see people are not ready to, like, maybe let go or to just take that time to actually worship while they're there. But I think that's kind of taught me that, do you know what, God is using me, so as long as I've done my part to come and minister or whatever it is, like, I can't now be the person to drag them or force them. As long as I've done my part, then it's now up to God to touch their hearts, and he takes it from there. So I can't really look at people's faces and say, well, you know, they're not lifting up holy hands, or they're not like, sometimes it's not even about lifting your hand. Some people are different, so I think that's what you have to understand. But I think that's just the struggle sometimes, just
Okay, because it's very different, isn't it, to learn how, because some people worship, like you said, in different ways. So do you ever feel like you haven't done your part?
No, actually. I always do feel like I've done my part. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so for other young individuals who may be aspiring to be praise and worship leaders, what advice would you give them when they're seeking the Lord?
Can you put that question? Sorry, I need to like digest it.
Yeah, it is.
Answer it properly.
Okay, so for other young people that may be aspiring to be praise and worship leaders, but for me, I wouldn't just say praise and worship leaders, but you know, what advice would you give them when they are seeking the Lord? Because that could go to anybody, because everybody should seek the Lord. So what advice would you give them?
I think, as you've put the question, if you are aspiring to be like a young person that's aspiring to be a praise and worship leader, I would just say, obviously, first pray about it. And I think it's got to do with kind of knowing your calling as well. Like, what has God given you in terms of gifts, in terms of talents? Sometimes when you know your gift and talent, that can kind of stir you to know maybe why you've been called or what you've been called to do. But I think it's just a prayerful thing. And I think sometimes, as I said previously, I think like if maybe you're aspiring to be a praise and worship leader, just take that extra step. Like if you're in church, like join your youth and maybe your Christian youth group or something, and just maybe ask to start leading or join the choir. Or it's not just, I think people need to stop thinking that things are going to be thrown at them. You also need to take that step, and yeah, just kind of take that step, and just, you know, as you try and like take that step as well. I think I'm losing my track of thoughts. I'm so sorry. I was meant to say something. I'm so sorry about this.
Well,
wow, still
I think it's really good that you actually have that platform, that you can actually express the gifts and talents that you have, because for some young people they don't have that platform. So how would you, I know you explained a bit about the, you know, joining a Christian union, but how would you encourage somebody who maybe doesn't have that platform?
Well, if you don't have that platform, then create your own platform. There's so many ways that you can get yourself out there now. I mean, like social media, there's so much. Like, stay in your room, sing to yourself, upload it on YouTube. That's still a form of blessing someone, because the fact is people are going to see it. So create your own platform. It doesn't, that's why I said you don't, sometimes these things will not come to you. It's not like I expected like certain things was going to come to me. Sometimes you create it.
Okay, yes. So you are seen as a role model by your peers. What attributes do you say portray you as a role model in the kingdom of God?
That's a good question. I think first things first is humility. I think humility is so important. Like, it says it in the word, like, God will actually humble you if you think you can, like, blow your own horn. So it's just always have humility, because I think humility as well takes you so far. And that's, like, being a role model, that's something you must have, because you can't like be feeling like, you know, you're better than everyone else and whatnot, because people won't like want to come to your level. People won't want to come to even meet you. I mean, imagine someone had a problem and they want to talk to you about it, and it's like, no, I can't meet her because, you know, she just thinks she's kind of all that kind of a thing. So I think that's important. And I think also understanding, because if you don't have understanding, I mean, as I said, how can you help people? You need to understand that there's so many different kinds of people out there that are going through so many things. So if you can just take time and try, I mean, sometimes we might not understand what people are going through, but just trying and showing that, you know, I'm here to support and that. So I think understanding and also listening is very important. I think it is true, like, sometimes we just need to talk less and just listen more, because sometimes while you're listening, there's so many things that you can take in that if you were talking so much, you wouldn't have actually taken in. There's so many more attributes, but those are the things that come to my head.
Those are the key ones.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So what is the next chapter for Ray?
Next chapter. I would say like, what is the next chapter? That's a good question. The thing is, I don't really know what the next chapter is. Not that I don't know, but it's like, you really don't know what's going to be handed to you. Like, you really don't know what's going to come up. So I don't really know. But I know I want to get into doing like a bit more covers, because I just like started up my YouTube channel. So I want to start uploading covers and just experimenting a bit more with music. And I want to work with other people as well, in terms of like other media companies, and just, you know, kind of get myself out there a bit more. And what is the next? I don't think it's the next chapter, because it's the same thing, like ministering and churches. It's still something I do, so I don't know if it's the next chapter or like same chapter. No.
Well, we never know, like you say, you never know what's going to be handed to you, so we will watch this space to wait and see what's going to be in store for you.
Yeah.
So where do you see your ministry then in 5 years?
In 5 years, I, by God's grace, definitely want an album out. By God's grace, I should be traveling, like, to be ministering in different countries. I see myself doing that. And yeah, just really being a blessing, and just better than where I am now. I mean, I can't be worse. So yeah, definitely being better than where I am now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And you've grown up in church, near enough all your life. What would you say to a non-believer who is unsure about God's existence?
Well, thing is, like, Christianity is a big step, especially for anyone. Christianity is a big step. I guess I do thank God that I was able to have, that was something that was, I started from when I was young, like in church and whatnot. But for a non-believer, if I was to say anything to them, if I even had the chance to even talk to them, I think I'll just kind of share my own experiences of what God has actually done in my life. Because being a Christian, there's just so much that God has done, and I think you get to testify of His goodness, and I think I'll share those experiences and just kind of share God's love, because God's love is it's just so amazing. You can't even describe God's love. So once someone that doesn't know what God's love is, once they actually get to know it, then I think that's what makes things just so amazing. So
Yeah. We at Arise, we think that God's love is amazing as well.
Yeah,
That was
it
actually
really
our
is.
last issue. It was
Okay.
about God's love.
Okay.
So yeah, we can ask the young
There you
people
go.
to check that out as well, our last issue.
There you go. Yeah.
So as a student and a singer and ministering at different churches, how do you relax? How do you unwind?
To be very honest, it sounds so funny, but I love my sleep. Like once I sleep, have a nap. Like my mum calls me sleeping beauty. So yeah, I love my sleep. It just kind of relaxes me. But if I don't, then I'll just put on like a good, like something good to watch. So I started watching like the Mary
the
season.
sitcom.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay,
started watching that. So
yeah.
that was quite interesting, and that just kind of takes me away from like everything else and stuff. So I do like that, and sometimes just listening to music. So yeah.
That's good.
That's how
Well,
I
you can
relax.
see why your mum calls you Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, I know.
So tell us something about yourself that nobody else knows.
I actually want to become a TV presenter. That's my goal and ambition. And yeah, I'm a very bubbly person. I love meeting new people. So it's actually very weird that you're interviewing me, because normally it's actually the other way around. I'm normally in that seat and then interviewing the person. But it's actually cool to kind of, you know, be on the other side this time around. It's really quite cool.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
good.
that's it really.
But as a
about me.
presenter, people would still want to interview you.
I know. I guess I've not just thought about that. I've just been so like, okay, I'm the interviewer, so that's it. I've never really thought about, oh my gosh, I could actually be the interviewee. So.
Oh, that's good. Well, when you do get your own show, we can say that we had you first at
I
Arise.
know. That's good.
Oh, that's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
So, thank you very much for coming
Thank
out
you.
and making us being allowed to interview
Thank
you
you.
for once. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
the
very
opportunity.
much. It's been
And you
good.
know, we look forward to hearing your album in the next coming years.
Check it out. Check it out.
Thank you.
Shower now.
When I think how much better I'm gonna be when this is over.